Welcome back to Radical and Relevant, where each day we get to explore the gospel together and the genius of Jesus' life and teachings. Today's reading is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16, verses 9 through 15. And I tell you, make friends for yourself by means of unrighteous mammon, so that when it fails, they may receive you into the eternal habitations. He who is faithful in a very little is faithful also in much, and he who is dishonest in a very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will entrust to you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in that which is another's, who will give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for either one he will hate and the other he will love, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. The Pharisees, who were lovers of money, heard all this, and they scoffed at Jesus. But Jesus said to them, you are those who justify yourself before men, and God knows your hearts. For what is exalted among men is an abomination in the sight of God. Wow, a lot there today. Did you get a word? Did you get a phrase? Did you get an idea? What did the Holy Spirit attach you to? Just got done a couple months ago writing The Forgotten Way. And so the line, he who is dishonest in little things will be dishonest in much. And got me thinking about a friend of mine, and she's dating a guy, and he's being dishonest in a couple of little things, and for some reason she came to my mind as soon as that came. Jesus says, he who is dishonest in little things will also be dishonest in much. And of course, a big theme here is in trust. Anytime a word is used over and over in the gospel, I always pay attention to that. You know, if you're not good with the money, or not faithful with the money, Jesus says no one's going to entrust to you the true riches. If you're not faithful with another, if you're not faithful with another's person's property, you know, no one's going to entrust even what's your own. And then the two master thing, right? We do have divided hearts. And the journey of Christianity, the spiritual journey that the gospel invites us to, helps us have integrity by having a united heart, by putting things in order. You know, when I used to travel, I used to say, like, some people, you know, they say they get bored at Mass, you know, and the reason I used to give was, well, they would come to Mass, priest would stand up and read the gospel, and what the gospel does is it rearranges our priorities. Okay, that is ultimately what the gospel does in a very practical way for us. It rearranges our priorities. So the priest or the deacon gets up to read the gospel. And what's really happening in our hearts, like God is saying, all right, yeah, that's not number one. That's like actually number 8, you know, and let's move this up here and this over here. And this one is higher and this one is lower. And all right, good. You have a great week, and I'll see you next week. And of course, we come back the next week. Priest or deacon reads the gospel. And what does God say in our hearts? He says, listen, I told you last week, that's not up there, that's number 8. Okay, and then move this up here, and this up here, and this down here, this way down here. This one just throw away, just a complete waste of life. Throw it away. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. And of course, what happens is, if we don't accept the challenge to change and to grow, well then yes, it's going to be boring. Why? Because God's going to give us the same lesson every week. Every week he's going to say, that isn't number 1, that's number 8. I told you that 3 weeks in a row, and I told you this goes here and this goes here. Because what the Gospels are constantly trying to do is rearrange our priorities. Why? That's what love does. That is what love does, fundamentally. It rearranges our priorities. You see that, like young people, they fall in love, right? What happens? Stop hanging out with their friends, talking to the girl or the guy all the time, texting, I guess, now. And, disinterested in things they used to spend a lot of time with, and just focused on this other person. Why? Simple. Love rearranges our priorities. That's what the gospel seeks to do. That's what the gospel seeks to do. That's why we spend these minutes together each day, so that our priorities in our heart and our mind can be realigned with the priorities of God. Have a great day, and remember, be bold, be Catholic.